Hello, welcome back to the Isolated podcast from Oceans Apart. I'm Kyle. I'm joined with Ash and Jordan again. You're right, guys.
Hello, how are you, mate? You all right?
I'm all right. I'm all right.
How you doing?
Today, we're going to touch on the topic of live shows and what goes into live shows. And we are also joined by our truly, truly great friend, Jamie Borland.
Oh, bloody hell, you're softening me up already.
I try.
Great friend.
I just want a discount after lockdown.
Oh, yeah. God, I think everyone's going to want it.
We can try. We can try.
You dreams.
So, touching on kind of live shows in general, sort of the first kind of topic I want to touch on, obviously just gigs in general with unsigned bands. Kind of what goes into a gig. Do you just turn up, play your show, and leave, or do you really have to think about kind of what goes into this sort of kind of deeper sort of look of the band? So like image, lighting, props, and kind of so on to kind of make it more of a show than a gig. I know us as a band, Ash, that we kind of pride ourselves on looking, professional as much as possible on stage. What do you take of that?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think that it's too big of an industry now for us to be just sort of turning up, plugging his instruments and playing. Even for bands that don't have a massive budget. I mean, this touches on why Jamie Borland's with us today. You can hire people to come and make your shows look better for, not thousands and thousands of pounds. And I just think it's a little bit of effort that unsigned bands need to put in now to keep the interest, because I've been to shows where I've seen bands sort of plug in and play, and yeah, they're great, they're amazing, they're tight, they're well crafted, but I'm starting to get bored after a little while because there's just nothing going on around them, and that's not being bad towards the band. I just think the whole production has lacked creativity. So yeah, that's my point on it. Yeah,
I kind of agree with that. And kind of touching on kind of the look, the lighting and stage kind of props as well. What do you reckon, Jamie? Obviously, you being that guy that we kind of look to kind of make us look good on stage. How have you kind of got into this industry? Like, how did you start? And kind of what's your kind of views on kind of the look of a band and whatnot?
I mean, I'll tell you the story of how I got into lighting first. So basically, when I was at school, secondary school, I mean, what was that, when I was 12, I think? My friends, they were all in bands, and I wasn't musically talented, although I like to think so, But, I play bass and whatnot, and everyone tries to sing in the shower. Let's be realistic here. So I always wanted to be on stage, but I was never talented enough to be on stage. And I just wanted to hang out with my friends, basically. And at my school, they had, a basic park and lighting rig, and I noticed that nobody was bothering to do anything with it. So I went to my music teacher. I was like, can I do this? And it was more of a case of, at the time, to get out of being in lessons, because like I said, I just wanted to hang around with my friends and listen to. I think at the time they were covering like Paramore Decode. You know what I'm saying? So it was, I got into it that way. But I mean, going back even further, my first ever gig was seeing Busted in 2003, and we were that far away from where we were sitting. All I could see really was the lights, and on the TV screen. So I spent a lot of my show watching the lighting, and to this day, it's really annoying because I go and see a band, and all I'm watching is the lighting now.
Can't help it now. You're just judging and watching.
Yeah, it's crazy. So that's how I got into it at school. But then it went further from that school. I thought, I'm never going to do this again. And then I went on and did a little bit of theatre at my next school, and then I found myself on the production of We Rock You, because we did that at school. So yeah, I found myself in theatre, and you guys know me, and I'm sure some people who listen to this know me. I'm a massive music, rock and roll fan. So that never really hit my lighting. G-spot's not the right word for it, but that kind of,
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
It didn't satisfy me. Anybody can press the old green button, following cues. It's boring. I don't get me wrong. I've done it for a long time, because I got involved with an out-of-school actors thing, and I was their technical director. So they let me have the whole design aspect. They gave me an idea,
cool.
And then it was right, now take that idea and create it with this lights. Okay, fine, let's do that. When I built my lighting rig, I took it out on tour. I think we did all the way up in Scotland, all the way down to Portsmouth. The Welsh date got cancelled because of Muck busted in one direction. It was just mental. This tour was just mental. Basically,
would you say that was one of the first tours you did, like hitting the road with a band doing lighting?
Yeah, that was my first ever experience of touring, and it was my first experience of building the rig, running the rig, breaking it down, throwing it in the van, going. That was my first experience of that sort of thing, and I just got this hunger, and I just got this. Okay, I want to make this better, and how can I make this better? And
would you say that after that first experience was that kind of when you realize you want to do this kind of full time? This is like for us, being a band, that's what we love. Lighting is
yeah. I mean, like you say, I mean, every time I go down with festival every year, and I'm watching the lighting rig more than I watch the bands, and it's so annoying. But at the same time, I have to appreciate that, because this is what I want to do.
Yeah. So going back to the what we were saying before then, Jamie, I know you touched upon saying that sometimes you look at bands and all you're staring at is the lighting. So I'm guessing you're in agreement with sometimes you can even go and watch unsigned bands, and they can be one of the tightest great bands you've seen, but if there's just nothing behind them in terms of lighting, it completely ruins the show, because it certainly does for me sometimes.
The thing is, I've obviously, as well as my lighting, I did promotion work. So I know that there's a massive pool of talented bands out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, they all, you talk to them and they're like, oh yeah, we want to take it to the next level. But then when you say, okay, this is what you got to do to take it to the next level, whether it's get in-ear monitors or get some production, get whatever, and they all come down and go, oh, it's the cost, it's this, it's this, it's this.
Yeah.
But if you're that serious about doing this, you're going to go, okay, right, we need to make an investment as a band. We need to up our level. And I think, and I'm not saying this about Leicester bands in general, I think, I think there's a lot of people out there that, are very talented, but they do this just as a hobby and don't want to take it to that next level where they get professional.
Great.
So bands bands like yourself, Hell's Addiction, who I'm working with, Scam, they're all getting to a point now where it's, they're getting some years behind them, and they're getting to a point where, they're breaking that next level, and the next level is, the more expensive studio time, with the more named producer and in-ear monitoring, lighting. It's they're having the full-time front of house sound engineer with them, and it's just when you start getting into that, that's when you're getting into the territory of it's shit or get off the pot, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you say, Jamie, anyway, we won't put on a headline show on without you there. and
Yeah.
because we just want to make everything stand out and special because we're trying to achieve something from music. Whereas you actually make a very good statement in terms of there are some people that just enjoy doing it as a hobby. So turning up at venues around the city or around the country, plugging in and playing and being semi decent is good enough for them guys because they can do that, play to their friends, and then have a few beers after. So yeah, no, that's definitely a good point, mate.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with those bands who just want to plug in and play.
Yeah.
At your shed, the musician, the cookie, places like that. But then when you start getting into the territory of your driving the street in Leicester, for instance, your O2 Academy, your Rock Cities, your the Underworld in London. I think this is where you've got to go. We're not just doing this as a hobby anymore. We are now looking at this as more of a career, but slash a career potential, because the potential of it to take off is just it's one in a million. But if you're that one in that million, your life is going to change forever.
Yeah.
So this is where, I mean, I've got in with you guys, I've got in with Hell's Addiction, I've got in with Scam, and you guys are all doing great. You really are, and I'm so proud to, be standing out front of house looking at you guys, with or without my money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I am. I mean, we're always talking about how we can improve things.
Yeah.
It's like another band that I think I did. What was I doing? I think I did their like 6th or 8th show, and they were on a UK tour with Crossfaith at the time called Ground Culture.
Wow.
And they broke out on Spotify the other day with 1 million streams, and it's just like this band from Newcastle, this have just turned up from nowhere, and now they're just fucking exploded. It's crazy. It's like I say, it's they're in it for the they're in it for the right reasons. You guys are in it for the right reasons. You do it for the love, you do it for the passion. But I'm sorry to say it, the love and the passion does not pay bills sometimes.
No.
So that's why you've got to decide whether you're gonna go in with it. I feel like I'm rambling, mate, to tell you the truth, and Jordan's probably agreeing because he's just an idiot.
No, you met some really good points though, Jamie. You really do. Jordan, what's your views on sort of bands making a show instead of just a gig? Do you think for bands that are trying to make an impact in the local scene or a scene around the country, do you think it's important, mate?
I do, yeah. I think, me personally, I believe that you can straight away tell a difference between a band that is really trying to chase a career of doing what they're doing on stage, and then just a band who are just turning up for the sake of playing a gig and then having a night out after. I mean, because let's be honest, it's not cheap for us guys to go and throw out a good old show and entertain people. Anyone can just turn up with no lights, just music, and get what they're given, basically. But for me, especially like being in a band before this, where we had no sort of lighting input, no really ambition to put on a show, and then being in this band, it does show you a massive difference.
Yeah,
no, I definitely agree with that. And Jamie made a good point with when you following the path, when a band kind of realizes that it's not just a hobby, is kind of the progression you make, be it your stage look and your image as a band and stuff like that. And I find that falls back on us. We're soon realizing that we are following this as a kind of, obviously we do love just doing it as a kind of passion, but trying to follow that sort of kind of career path, because from our last headline show that we did with Jamie, the one we had planned for this year, August, who knows if it still goes ahead or not, but we had a lot more planned with Jamie, and we're gonna meet up with Jamie for like a good 2 months and do like dress rehearsals and stuff like that with like a better a lighting rig that we were going to look at making a few extra things and whatnot, and just kind of add into that show. That really makes a difference in my eyes. Is that if a band saw you from the like a year before, then they go see you again, and you put exactly the same show on after a year of like work, they're gonna start thinking like, oh, are they really evolving and progressing? But if they come and watch us a year later and we've got a completely different show, different set, and it grabs people's attention, I think it makes a massive difference. General lighting and an image on stage.
Yeah,
definitely. I mean, this leads me to my next point. I mean, all four of us were at this gig, and they're a band that I'm massively influenced by. And I think I'm going to mention. So I'm a huge fan of Ghost, the band. Literally because of things like their production and their whole story. Like, obviously, I think to sit and put so much effort into sort of designing a costume and a character and a storyline and everything like that. And Jamie, when we were watching them, obviously the lighting was pretty damn impressive in my eyes. I mean, obviously, if I was on a stage that size and we'd be taking you with us and stuff like that to operate it. Do you think it's important for these bands now to think of something different like that, like a story or a character, or because even people now are not using their normal names as a performer in a band? There's band members that don't even use their own names anymore, and they have a different alias to be in bands. And do you think things like this are becoming just the known now, or do you think it will get to the stage where it's overkill and too many bands are trying to do something similar? Or what's your views on that?
I mean, obviously we all watched Ghost together that night, and as great as it was, I think I'm not disrespecting Ghost at all because I love the band Ghost. I think, like the costume changes, they did go a little bit overboard.
Yeah,
there was a lot of breaks in the set, and so it's a catch-22 basically. You've got to be doing it so you're so you're different. You're getting all eyes on you, but then there's when you're doing it. I think what was there, about 8 costume changes in that set?
Easily, I think
that was an awful lot.
Yeah. Those 2 minutes where you're off the stage getting changed or doing something, you could be playing another song. So
true.
The problem is if you're affecting the flow of the gig by doing that, I think that's where it's going a bit too far. But however, that's saying that, if every band was doing, every band was trying to be like Slipknot, they had the 9 members, they had the masks, they had the jumpsuits, blah blah blah. It would take that magic away of when you see Slipknot,
of course,
when you see Ghost. So it's like, I think it's a catch-22. You've got to know. It's like I remember, like, we did the was it the album launch we did together at the O2 Academy?
Yes, it was, mate.
Yeah. When you guys had the uniforms, and then you had the UV paint for Talking Town, and that worked. However, the uniforms didn't really work, if you get what I'm saying, because you've not worn them since.
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
So I think it's you've got to try. If it fails, whether that's your fans think it didn't work or you guys thought it didn't work, why not try something new? It's like with the snake around your heart. You've tried something new with that. You've gone. I didn't really watch it because I don't like snakes. So why the fuck?
You saw the image though.
Yeah, you've changed your image. You've tried it, and Scam, for instance, they did the Amazing Memoirs of Goddard. That was a concept album, and I was heavily, I don't want to say heavily, but I was on all of the video shoots for that album. I toured a lot of that album with them. I did the album launch. I did, I loved that album. Like, it's still in my CD player in my car, for instance.
Yeah.
I've got the very first pre-production CD that no one else has got, sort of thing. And I thought that worked really well for Scam.
Yeah.
But the boys thought it didn't. So their next cycle, you're going to see them. No uniforms, no the album's no story and whatnot. However,
just back to rock and roll sort of playing.
Yeah. Although I whilst I'm sad at the same time as a lighting designer, I can't say you've messed up by not doing that, because I don't have the say in the band. You guys would look at me and say, which I get, because we're growing together. Myself and Oceans Apart, we're all growing together in this production vibe, because I've never, had a band come to me and say, "Oh yeah, we're taking over the LED screen at the shed, and we want all the lighting to match with that." I've not had that at this point in my career, purely because the shed is the only venue I know with an LED screen at this minute in time. So it's one of them. We're growing, and you come to me and say, "Will this work?" And I'll go, I mean, maybe not. Who knows until we try. So I never really had that say with Scam. But I think if every band was, doing a concept album, doing the uniforms, doing the makeup, so to say, I think we'd have an 80s revive, to be honest.
Yeah.
No, fair point. Jordan, what do you feel about all of it? Because obviously you're in our band. I personally think that you're the first one to really, really latch on and get on board with these kind of ideas, and be the one that's a bit out there and sort of not bothered about trying a new image and stuff like that. So what is your take on it? Are you not so bothered because you've watched bands like Ghost and My Chem wear the uniforms, and you know that they've sort of had something from it once they've hit the right uniform and right idea? What's your views on it?
To be fair, I think a lot of mine is like through pure influence from like bigger bands like My Chemical Ghost, even people like Jared Leto.
Yeah.
If you think like back in the day, well, even now, Jared Leto, he doesn't really care what people are thinking, just as long as he can grab a bit of attention. And whether that's good or bad, they still get some talking. So
yeah, and we know budget's an issue, Jordan, and on probably sometimes unsigned bands. Jamie touched on it earlier, saying that it's important for a band to throw a bit of money at it to make sure that if they want to stand out and make something of it, that's key. But what's your view on unsigned bands sort of making the effort? Do you think, even if you're not going down the costume image, do you think that you should at least be making effort for lighting if you want to be a band that's trying to push yourself a little bit?
Well, yeah, I think you've got to always put your hand in your pocket if you want to like get anywhere, because however much you put in, you're probably going to get a bit more out of it. So I think with bands, you've got to look at it as if it's almost like an investment. Like you just keep putting in, have some patience, and just bite your tongue, grit your teeth when it gets hard, and just keep pushing, and then you will get your reward at the end of the day.
Yeah,
that's how
definitely.
I look at it anyway.
No, it's a great point. Kyle, sorry
to interrupt.
Yeah,
I think Jordan's just made a very good point there about you will get your reward. I mean, you guys have spent a lot of time in the studio, and I bet there was times where you wanted to pull your hair out, but then you see, and like the video shoot for Ghost of Your Heart, I bet Ghost Around My Heart. Was it Ghost Around My Heart? Snake Around My Heart. Fucking hell. We talked about Ghost.
It's got Ghost on the brain.
Because of you're hearing the playback of that track. I bet now you guys can't really stand that song, You know, I
Yeah.
sure as hell thought that way about about the song. Like any video shoot that I've been on, I've come away from that and I thought, oh my god, I can't stand this song now. But yeah, then you see, Kerrang Radio or Planet Rock or wherever pick up your song, and it makes that stress of being in the studio, being on that video shoot, getting the guy and say, right, Jordan, I need you to do this guitar move about 10 more times. And you're just like, oh my God, have you not got that yet? God. But then you see Kerrang, take that. And then Kerrang are coming back saying, oh yeah, we bloody love this. Or BBC say, we love this, we're playing it, blah, blah, blah. It makes that reward a lot more juicier, I guess. If you think about it like a prime cut steak, it's it's mouth water, you're frothing at the mouth.
Jamie, stop! You're making me hungry.
Oh, mate. But you know what I'm saying. I guess it. You've got to be hungry for it. And if
Definitely,
it comes down to the passion and the love. If the passion and the love's not there, you're not in the right area.
Definitely agree. That brings me on to one point I wanted to make though. With all this kind of having the passion, the hunger, the ideas behind like sets and lighting and stuff like that. Being a lighting engineer, obviously yourself, have you personally come across, or like this goes out to Ash and Jordan as well, having all them ideas, approaching kind of problems with venues and restrictions for them ideas, and how do you kind of combat them?
Jesus Christ, how do we combat bloody venues putting up barriers in our way? Oh,
because we've had them issues before at the O2, haven't we? Well,
yeah. I mean, see, I've been lucky, really. Every venue I've gone to and said, "Oh, I'm, such and such band's lighting engineer. Can I jump on?" They go, "Yeah, fine, no worries." I've had one festival where Chill Generation Tributes Prodigy were doing a headline set at like midnight, I think it was. I rocked up at like 2 p.m. to, sort of introduce myself, say, hey, I've got some kit with me, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, you're not doing anything. No. I mean, I approached them very kindly and, very kindly. And, you would have looked at me and gone, who are you right now? Because you guys know me. But, and bearing in mind, they were using kit that, was, I don't want to sound disrespectful or anything, but it was old. I mean, the desk was a Evo Lights Pearl 2000, and I was running, my Titan Mobile, and I think the week before that I'd been on a Glaston budget with Grand MA, and I was talking to them about all of this stuff, and they still weren't having any of it, which I didn't get. Now I just realised that they're being Marley arses. But hey, that's text, and that's life, whatever, fine. So that band didn't get there. I mean, I was there for free as well. I was there for free, trying to make their show look better, by the way.
Wow.
And they didn't even stick up for me or anything. So I was like, okay, thanks for that. And then I haven't, touring with Scam, and I've done the Choir Boys, I've done Skin Dread, UFO, and things like that, and I've never had anyone be so what's the word I'm looking for? Like putting a stop to everything, like the O2 Academy did.
Yeah.
And the thing is, what I didn't understand with the O2 was I was in there 2 weeks prior to your show with Skin Dread in the main room doing a headline show like I was doing with you, with more kit.
Wow.
And it was like, dude, like, really? You helped?
Was nothing questioned on that Skin Dread show?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
You went.
I think all that happened was the promoter had, the tour manager had mailed to the O2 Leicester ahead saying that, they've got lighting guy come in. like Nick had done. We'd told them, we'd be like,
we followed all them procedures.
They know, yeah.
And if anyone from the O2 hears this, I'm not slagging you guys off. I get it.
Of course not. No.
I
get it. You had, was it Real Friends or somebody like that go in before we did, and completely I think an incident happened where they turned up with a film crew, and it had not been spec'd, and it had not been.
Yeah, I remember Nick Turner's about that, which I totally understand the restrictions in place. So, potential kit doesn't get damaged and stuff like that. It was just, I guess it was, at the time, it was just an inconvenience to us that we didn't know that we had to sort.
Well, that was it. It put a stop to that. I'll always look back at that show as not one of my best. I mean, there was nothing wrong with it, as in band performance wise. It just wasn't my best visually, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
I know I can do better than that, and I put that down to the fact that the O2 Academy had put these barriers up that I can't put any of my lighting rig up until I get this, and then when I got this, it was I can't do that now. It was really frustrating because we lost all that time of where we could have ran through certain songs, or but it I don't know. It is what it is. All I know is we know it for next time now.
Yeah. I guess, and I guess you made a point with the band that came up with a film crew without kind of saying about it. I think the kind of heavier restrictions that they now put in only came into place after that show, didn't they?
Yeah, I think that was about a week.
Yeah. So we obviously just fell into that bad timing, but like you say, we know now, and we totally understand why they put them in now, so people don't kind of just rock up and potentially trash equipment.
I mean,
but they don't know. I guess they don't know us as a band. They don't know you, so I guess a lot of venues probably will be putting that into place.
The thing is, they did know me because the guy that was running, that was going to be running the lights, if I couldn't have got what we needed to get, he was the guy who helped me rig the Skin Dread show. So he knew me. He stood next to me all throughout the Skin Dread show.
Oh, see.
So that was my frustration. It was like, come on, do you know me? But hey ho. I mean, it happened again at the O2 Academy on a festival. I'd done Bloodstock with Resin, and then Resin had asked me to go and do I can't remember the name. Is it wherever the heavy metal festival is in Leicester at the O2? And they hadn't told him that I was coming. So I rocked up, thought that everything was honky-dory, and they were like, what are you doing here? I'm like, I'm here for this band and this band. There are two bands on the bill. They're like, you're not. I was like, But that's, I mean, that's just, I don't know whether that's all O2s or...
I don't know. I guess maybe the more we do shows outside of Leicester as well, like the more we probably come across that potential issue with certain venues.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess it's one thing as a band, and then it goes back to if you're putting time into kind of your look of stage and lighting. It can get frustrated when you get told you potentially can't do it on the day. But I guess they're problems you have to overcome on the day, and we did in the end, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we made the best out of that awkward situation.
Yeah.
But I mean, saying that, I've I get everyone asking me this question, like, what would you do if somebody was asking to use your kit? And I'd be like, well, I'd say you can use it because then I ain't gonna work. You know what I mean? I would literally look at it as that. And and I went to the Underworld on a sellout. I don't know if you've ever heard of the band called Gun. They're from Scotland. They were massive in the 80s, and they covered Coolio's Word Up.
Right.
All right.
So Scam were their touring support, and we came to the Underworld, and I said, I'm Jamie, I'm Scam's lighting engineer, blah blah blah, and they were like, great, I ain't got to do any work. You can do the headliner as well. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, no worries, Sam, cheers.
That was that.
Fair.
and that was that. And then I was doing the lighting all night for all three bands, and
Wow, man.
it's just how it goes at some venues. And I'll never forget walking into Northampton Roadmender and Scam supporting Skindred, and somehow I managed to convince the boys in Scam to take me along. And I rocked up and I was like, hey, I'm Jamie, lighting engineer for Scam, blah blah blah. Have I'm a massive Skindred fan, and have you got your lighting engineer with you? No. Okay. Like I say, I'm a massive Skindred fan. I know all the material. Would it be possible for me to jump on? The guitarist and the stage manager, tour manager, were like, "Fuck yeah, do it, man. Let's go."
Awesome.
Yeah.
They told me the only thing they said was they didn't want a lot of strobe because they are very technical playing, so they need a lot of light on the stage. And he isn't afraid. And I've seen him call, from prior knowledge of seeing Skindred, if you're not hitting that, that crowd blinder quick enough on the right moments of the Skindred songs, he will call you it. And I've heard him call lighting engineers it. Well, luckily, touch wood, if you can hear it.
Yeah.
The 3 times that I've worked with Skindred now, is it 3? Yeah, it's 3. Yeah, he hasn't called me it. So that's
some good going.
Yeah, signs of a good job, Jamie. That's what that is, mate.
And that's why we use you.
One more thing I was just going to touch on. If you've got sort of like you touched on it earlier, Jamie, and I was going to ask Jordan or Kyle about this. If you think you've got an idea, like we did with the Snake Around My Heart video, if we was to sort of iron that out live, or have sort of something live that we were going to do out of the norm in terms of lighting or costume or idea or some form of image, do you think it's important to get the fans on board with this kind of wide idea? Because as an unsigned act, we spoke on the first podcast about when you're starting in your first year or two, a lot of your fans at the start in your hometown are sort of friends and family and everything like that. Do you think it's important to reach out and get them on board with that? Because I know when we tried the costumes at the O2, because people weren't used to seeing us like that, they found it very strange and daunting at first. They looked at us and they thought, wow, they look completely different to what they're like at home. Is that signs of a job well done, do you think? Or do you think that's signs of probably going too far and them thinking, oh no, not just yet? What's any of your views on that?
I mean, I don't know. I guess it could go 50-50, really. I mean, musically, I'm a massive fan of the crowd sing-alongs. Mm-hmm. So I love that side of the whole crowd aspect. I mean, uniform-wise, Slipknot, for instance, they're taking massive now. Slipknot, you go see Slipknot and you see the crowds and you see, everyone's, not everyone, but majority of the crowd are in their bloody jumpsuits and wearing a mask, and it's, so when you're going for that kind of look and you get it to where your fans are embracing that look and they're dressing up like you, I think that's when, you've got the mark, you've got it hit, that's great.
Yeah,
you're doing
definitely.
That. Don't fucking change that, because it's I don't know, really. It's strange because whilst I don't see many people dressing up as, like, let's say Ghost, for instance,
mm-hmm.
everyone embraces that Ghost look,
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I preferred the cycle that they've just done with Popper. I don't like the new Popper. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel I get that bands feel like they need to change, but at the same time, I feel when you've got it and everyone likes what you're doing,
Don't change it.
Really. Yeah.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Fair point.
I guess that falls onto kind of the stuff that we've done in the past as well. And I'll probably like give this on Jordan just quickly. Like the difference from say like the last O2 show and the image and look we went for there probably didn't kind of go down as we thought it would. The way we pulled it off was probably quite last minute to potentially, you know, what we had, what you know, what we've got planned for August if it goes ahead. If not, we've still got that plan for the when that show goes ahead, like for intros and the image that we're thinking of that. How important do you think that is, Jordan, in getting like Jamie says, like if you've got it right, don't change it. But how important do you think if you're gonna do something, yeah, you got to put time into that and kind of thinking of what we're going to do for the August show, the difference from that to the O2 show that we did last year.
So the way I look at it is that if we're going to do something, well, all these plans that we've got in mind, then it needs to be done wholeheartedly. Like, and it has to be precise. We can't just chance it if you kind of, because if you do, you run the risk of something going wrong. You're looking a little bit foolish, and it's just a big risk chancing.
Yeah, I think that, and that's why you see like bands like Slipknot, Ghost, and stuff like that. That's why they do. You know, if you're going for that sort of theatre sort of look, and kind of not just you as a person playing your instrument, you can see how much time they've put into, you know, obviously that craft, and they've been doing it for years and years to potentially, for a band like us that wants to do something similar maybe for our live shows, how it did kind of go wrong with the O2 show because we rushed it. And obviously the idea through Snake now, and you look at that video and we find from the O2 show to even Snake video how much we've progressed as a band if we want to do that image
I think
properly.
Personally, it kind of shows a lot of professionalism, if you get what I mean. If you're so dedicated to getting your ideas absolutely spot on, like when we went to go and watch Ghost, even like a little hiccup between Tobias and the lead guitarist, even that was rehearsed, like pinpoint. And I think that it does just show how professional you are about, and how dedicated you are, and the drive that you've got to really want to reach that next step.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree.
Did I miss that? Where was I? Was I falling asleep at that point?
Basically, what it was, Jamie, is on that tour, I watched them at Dublin. I went to Dublin to watch them, and I watched them in Nottingham. And there was a part of the show where it looked like Cardinal, Tobias, had fallen out with the lead guitarist, and it was sort of like they'd had a bit of a to-do on the stage. Well, on that exact same part of the same set list in Dublin, they'd done exactly the same thing. So it was just planned part of the show to keep that suspense there in the show. And I picked up on it, and I let the lads know. I texted the lads when I was in Dublin, like the exact same thing has happened at the exact same second of the of the same show, pretty much. And I just thought it made me realise how much this band must be rehearsing their sort of move one to move 1,000 to the end of the show. And it just really made me think that you can actually go to that extent. I know obviously they do it for a living, and they can probably take 2-3 weeks to hire a venue, even the size of somewhere like the Shed, to practice this with a lighting rig and the members, and they probably do that before they go. But
well, I'll just say one thing: if Ghosts are practicing, production and everything, they're not doing it in the size of the Shed.
Yeah, fair.
They're using, somewhere like a massive aircraft hangar or somewhere like that. But I mean, that's the sort of territory where it's you're bordering on getting into like the boy band kind of vibe now. When you're practicing your dance moves, so to speak.
Yeah.
So it is very tricky water. You go from being that metal rock band to then an NSYNC tribute band sort of thing. So
too rehearsed.
No, fair point.
Yeah.
It brings me on to one other point that I just wanted to raise on the podcast today, unless any of you guys have got anything after. 2 points really. The first one I'd like to touch on is, in terms of unsigned bands, Jamie, we've bought sort of like lighting strips for us to take on stage on shows that obviously either you're not able to work, or we're going around the country. We know it'll probably be a bit of a smaller show where we probably couldn't even fit your rig on the stage because the stage is that small in some of these places. Do you think it's important still for a band to sort of pick up some sort of cheap lighting system just to make them stand out at these shows, or do you think you can kind of get away with it as if you're going around the country in these sort of 50 to 100 cap venues?
No, because you're putting me out of work, you fuckers.
Fair enough. That's great answer. I mean, as a lighting tech, you're absolutely going to say that. So I'll direct the question to Jordan and KP then. Do you two
if any of you say yes, I'm coming after you.
I mean, because I'll be honest, me myself, obviously we know Jamie, we'd take you out, we'd take you to every gig we physically could, but there are some gigs that you probably wouldn't even get one of your lights on the stage, and then
we'll work something out.
And then as a band member, then I suppose a little bit you do have to look at it as like, there's probably going to be 20 people here. Is it cost effective for us to drag you all the way out there with all of your kit to be able to fit one light on there, when we can buy 4 strip lights, which we have got for the tiny venues, and we just sort of plug them in, don't we, lads, and leave them on a reaction mode sort of thing, don't we, Kyle? You know more about our strips, but
listen, I'm a realist, right? I know that this sort of level, you guys are not going to take me out on tour. The thing is, right, I wouldn't want you guys spending your own money, so to speak, not the band's money, but your own money, paying for me to come out on tour.
Yeah.
I don't see the need for the venues that you're sort of playing at this level for me to fit an overkill lighting rig in there. When you're doing your album launches at, the Shed or the O2, for instance, yes, it's worth it, because you're, if you was doing an album launch in a different city, I would probably say, right, do you want to make it a bit more special? Do you want me there?
Yeah.
I like to feel like you go, yes, because it's an album.
Definitely.
I mean, I'd go with, as long as Jordan's not there on this show, I'll go. But so I'm a realist, but whilst I wouldn't recommend bands going and buying their own lighting rig, because you guys know just by buying those strips, they're very expensive.
Yes.
I would let some other mug buy the lights and then you use them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, fair.
Unfortunately, I'm that mug who spent a lot of money on his lights, and now they're all not breaking, but some are breaking, and now it's like, oh.
Right, this brings me on to the last point for today, lads. First of all, just before we go on to the last point, I always like to thank anybody that's got involved. Jamie, do you still go under the tag of JB Lighting? Because we're going to tag whoever we have on the podcast in there. So if people want to click on and see your work or get in touch with you to do work for them.
I do, but I haven't really updated it in a very long time. I should probably sit down at some point and update it. If anybody here wants to take over my JB Lighting page and update it for me, I would be massively appreciative.
You cannot trust me with that.
Well, we'll tag you. We'll tag you as a person as well, then, Jamie.
If I've got a bit of free time, I'll do it for a free show. Yeah.
That's a good shout.
Sounds good. Sounds good to me, brother.
There we go. There's a deal struck. And
there we go.
Just before we go,
podcast exclusive.
Can we make it in 2022? Like after sort of financially, we couldn't come
IOU.
Fair enough. And just before going on to the last point, Jamie, you might actually find yourself with a job on tour, because we had a discussion the other day and we had somebody on and we were talking about touring, and we have actually realised as a band that we are going to need a member or two on tour. So whether you bring one or two lights we were talking about and yourself, you might have a merch stand job as well if you're up for the gig. But yeah, so
hey, that's fine by me, boys. I've got the best figure ever. I'll sell always merch, man.
There we go. But okay, so the last point I wanted to run through today was sort of music videos. And again, Jamie, we've had you work on one of our music videos. We obviously, the last company we did work with just told us that we weren't allowed sort of anything external. They wanted to control the production from A to Z, which was fair enough. But do you?
Them silly.
But
I'm joking.
Of course.
But do you guys think? I'll start with you, Kyle or Jordan. Do you think with music videos ideas for unsigned bands, creativity is key, or spending a massive budget? Because I've worked with companies before in my first band where we paid like nearly £5,000 for a video, and I watched Snake Around My Heart, which we know was considerably less than that budget wise, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I think Snake Around My Heart is better than the video. Well, I know it's better than the video that I spent £5,000 on in my first band. So what's your guys' views on that? Do you think that you just need to sit down and be a little bit more creative sometimes, instead of slinging the money at people to be your brains?
I think you've got to kind of know who you're working with. Like, there's no point in throwing like, $5,000 at someone that you've never checked, their full sort of portfolio out or know how they work. Like, for example, like obviously Snake, obviously we know Nick, and we know how well he's doing as a full-time job. So obviously we decided to sit down and actually storyboard Snake, didn't we? So sit down with Nick, and obviously Nick took control over everything, kind of production wise. We pretty much told sort your image out, how you want to look, and then we'll storyboard the rest, and then turn up and get it done. And it ran so smoothly. I have to say, like that video shoot. So
I've got to give him everything.
Like you've definitely got to have the idea of like, I've got to spend a little bit of money.
Yeah.
You don't have to spend $5,000 to throw it at someone. Say, we can't think of anything. That's why you're spending so much to someone else, because you're asking them to do everything,
do the storyboard and everything.
Yeah, I think if you can sit down as a band and have, we're creative anyway with the writing side of things and whatnot. So why can't we use that creative mind and kind of like visuals for stage? Why can't we take that towards, a music video? But then obviously the person we're hiring to do the video, they're the ones that are going to get the angle and the professional look of the video. But I think if you can have all the money you could have, but no creativity, and the video will come out pretty.
Can I add
standard,
something to that?
Yeah, of course, mate.
You say, well, put it like this, right? All the videos I did was with Scam, Hell's Addiction, and yourself.
Yeah.
Yourself and Hell's Addiction, they use somebody to film for them.
Mm-hmm.
Scam hired the camera and did it all themselves. We got the location. I think we used. Do you know John O'Neill? His area for one of the videos.
Yeah,
I forgot the name. But then we used Newark Air Museum as another location, and if you look at those videos, you cannot tell, I think, that they are homemade videos, really, in my eyes. Mm-hmm. So it's you've got to look at, do you want to throw $5,000 at a music video? If you can, great, go for it.
Yeah.
But if you can't, well, then there's other options where you can do it yourself.
Fair point.
So it's it's entirely up to you guys. It's crazy, really, what you can do.
Yeah, I mean, like when with the snake video, sort of Jasmine, and she was the makeup artist on the day, and she was well in touch with us, wasn't she, for weeks, Kyle, about sort of what idea we put our
Yeah, like
ideas to her, and she told us, she directed, if she said, oh no, I think these contact lenses probably won't work, go for these ones.
like
Yeah,
through Nick, obviously, like was
yeah,
telling us like what like what would work, what wouldn't, and I think because we save so much money in production, like recording and stuff like that, because obviously we do it kind of in house at my place.
yeah,
we felt, let's take just a little pressure off us and spend a little bit of money, but not the £5,000 mark, nowhere near the £5,000 mark,
no,
and still get a really professional video that we were super happy with.
Yeah,
and not the hassle of having to edit ourselves or anything like that, or all the what goes into a video. We just turn up as a band and do our bit.
of course, because obviously with the first video that we done, obviously, and we got you on, Jamie, I mean, that was sort of in our eyes, we sort of threw that together in a week. So obviously we knew we were having you for a while, but I think we learned a lot of valuable lessons in terms of sort of idea and everything like that, that
Yeah,
you need to get it together a lot sooner
I
than
think
sort
just
of.
as a band, and then like
Yeah,
we were very new at that point, and we
we
just
were.
we didn't try and take the control
Yeah,
of anything, be it our video, and we didn't take control of like, oh, shall we storyboard this, or should we actually think of a legit idea, even though it turned out a pretty decent video.
yeah,
I guess it because we was more rushed than Snake ever was,
yeah,
because we've learned stuff from doing that. Like maybe your lighting didn't come across the way it should
where it
have,
should have done.
because
Yeah,
at the set it looked amazing. Like it
Yeah,
was proper vibey, but it maybe didn't come across like that on the video.
see,
yeah,
that is my only thing with that video, is that it doesn't look at the colours. It's, sorry to say it, I'm not slaying Callum off, but it was white, and to me it was a shame, because we did all these close-ups where we used, like, each member had a specific colour, and it looked fucking amazing.
Yeah.
yeah,
But then, when we got back, saw the video, it was, where's all the colour gone, and I don't know what happened to the colour. I don't know where the colour's gone. It's gone.
yeah, fair.
But
it is a very, very good pointer, and obviously, so even touching on them sort of 3 examples of the 3 videos that we've spoken about, you can see sort of the difference in terms of budget and then sort of creativity from the band as well. And maybe as a band, because I know a different guy edited the actual Talk of the Town video, maybe as a band could have even said, that's not put the story across that we wanted. Can you use some of the footage that you've got with the colours? I mean, we were very new as a band
we
then,
were
and
new.
and I think we were just eager to get something out, and we've definitely learned from our mistakes on that video. And you make a very good point, lads. Jordan, what's your view on sort of music videos for bands and stuff like that? Because we've obviously had 2 now released this month, and one of them, KP, you sort of put together, which was just like a story of a pandemic, and that's got probably even more views than Snake Around My Heart on a video channel. So that's pure creativity. So what's your views on it, Jordan?
Well, it just goes to show, by the 2 videos we've put out this year, you don't really always have to dig deep in your pockets to get the best. I think you've got to just think for yourself and don't rush into anything. Make sure you really know what you want for the video. Don't just say, right, well, here's your 3, 5, 10 grand. Can you do as a job? They turn up, this is your story, and they're almost like bossing you about.
Yeah.
You've got to enjoy your video. I think when we did Talk of the Town, we was in a position where we didn't really have much of a say of what we wanted. And I found it didn't kill the video for me. Like, it was a great experience and whatnot. I just think having that little bit more control in knowing what we wanted, and
I think you make a good point with like it didn't make the video bad talk, but because we didn't like the whole team that worked on it, like the people that worked on it, we didn't meet up as a group of people like 2-3 weeks before the video shoot. Knowing what was happening, like it was all very kind of thrown together between everyone. Really, it's no one's fault. It's just the group
if I recall,
like 6 or 7 people just didn't talk really before the video shoot.
That's all it was.
If I recall, there was talks for us to all to meet up for a beer. I don't know why. What happened?
I don't. Yeah, it just didn't. It just didn't come off, and that shows that lessons to be learned for bands that are looking to do a video. If you kind of if you sit down and have just a beer and have a chat, you will make that day when you come to shoot the video way easier.
50 times. I can't believe how different Snake was. Yeah.
It was a long day. We got there 10 o'clock in the morning and finished at 7 at night. So it was a long day, but it was like a long day of no hiccups. Just getting the shots done.
Yeah.
And I have one recommendation for any lighting engineer that is going to do a UV video shoot. Don't ever take kit that isn't yours.
I remember that, Jamie, and we massively apologise for that, because obviously there was sort of UV powder and UV paint being thrown around everywhere. Poor Jake was in the video. She was Baltic by the end of the
we shot it outside,
cold evening,
weren't it?
Yeah, and obviously
it was outside.
Yeah, we weren't allowed to hit the drums because the neighbours come out. So sort of the editing was good on that part, because it still looks like you're playing the drums on it, KP. But in actual fact, you're having to hit them with it's almost like your fingers or sort of mime hitting them. So
I guess that just shows, just little things like that shows from a band's point of view. We're getting people to do a job for us. We should take the lead, and it's if it's anyone's fault, you get a great video or like a good video or an amazing video. It's same for the like recording and stuff like that.
True.
It's the band's fault at the end of the day.
Of course it is. It absolutely is.
Yeah, I think it's just mainly about communication.
And you learn from it.
Definitely. It's just making sure you communicate, and we know, obviously we learned from our mistakes in the talk video. Like we say, not that we think it's a bad video, but we have to sit as a band and look at our products. And if you compare Snake Around My Heart's Talk of the Town, they're in one's Division 2 and one's Premier League, and that's purely because of the planning of the band, and also the organisation leading up to that, the running up to that. And I believe maybe even the editing as well was as obviously surpassed what we done in Talk of the Town. But
it's just people like you, like Nick for example. We know he does a great price for what he does, and when he's working with bands like Neck Deep and Boston Manor and stuff like that, then you kind of know you're gonna get your money's worth. It's a mixture of.
Is that who did your video then?
Nick Lee Shield.
Yeah, he works with Nick Deep.
Yeah, he's done videos.
Does,
He had the December video. He did. He's done stuff.
Did he do both of the December videos, or just the one?
Just the one, where they're in the Working Men's Club.
That's an amazing video.
Yeah,
really.
He worked on that.
Yeah, he's the guy.
He's worked on Boston Manor stuff with confidence. He shot at the shed, and you couldn't tell it was the shed.
And that's why.
Yeah,
very, very really good.
Shout out to Nick.
Yeah, big up Nick.
That's why we've sort of chosen. Yeah, big up Nick. That's why we've sort of chosen now to use him for videos, because we know that it's going to be stress free. We know we can get our idea across. But great points on all of it, lads. I mean, just before we wrap up, is there anything that any of you want to touch on? Obviously, I'm aware it's probably been. We've had so much interesting things to talk about today that it's probably the longest podcast we've had yet. But
sorry.
No. It's good, because obviously, whilst people are in this lockdown, Jamie, it's brilliant for them to have sort of an hour and a half to listen to something new. So, have any of you guys got anything before we wrap up today?
I think for me that's a wrap.
I miss you all very much.
Yeah, we do. I miss you too, JB.
So, Yeah, we miss you, mate, and we can't wait for his next headline show, and we can't wait to get you down the practice room to start getting this theatre show together for our next headline. So no,
mate, I literally can't wait to like bust out and just like go see people and hear live music again. I literally think I'm just going to run around the room naked.
it's going to be amazing. But no, thank you all, guys. And cheers again for listening. Again, Jamie, you reached out to me a couple of days ago about the podcast, and I said, would you be interested in being on it? And you was up for it. The same as when Harry come on, I got in touch with him and he was more than up for it. So please, whether you work for venues, whether you're a musician yourself or anything, even if you're a merch guy, we can always base topics around your speciality. So get in touch with us and stay safe, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye.
Big up.